Yeah, I have a really weird relationship with island shows. They're usually very beautiful, and the characters have a weird culture. And I think it's because usually they're isolated by because they're by like they're off from the mainland and they're by themselves. So they tend to have in these shows like different, possibly strange cultures, or maybe old school
Hmm.
cultures that like have stayed the same since back then. The next show we're gonna be talking about is Summer Pockets.
Somehow I knew that was gonna come. I just looked at it like, yeah. I was about to scroll down and leave that section behind. Like, nope. I almost guarantee this one's gonna come up next.
So the reason why it's on my list is that this show looks like it's looks to take place on an island. I have a weird relationship with island shows.
You
They're
do.
usually yes, they are
And you know
usually.
the funny thing about that too is, do you see who the studio who's done this?
Uh, oops. Oh, wait, no.
No, it's Studio
Studio
Feel,
Field.
who also did which one?
And
Island, the other one that you like. For the reason why it's a
really, really,
so
that's a
guess what? We
crazy,
found their
crazy
niche.
coincidence.
We found their niche. They like
Oh
islands.
my
They
god,
really like
that is.
islands.
Oh my god, and it's animosity. Okay,
Yep.
so
So yeah.
yeah, so yeah, I have a really weird relationship with island shows. They're usually very beautiful, and the characters have a weird culture, and I think it's because usually they're isolated by because they're by like they're off from the mainland and they're by themselves. So they tend to have in these shows like different, possibly strange cultures, or maybe old school
Hmm.
cultures that like have stayed the same since back then.
You know that you know where that comes from, right? That's almost you're almost basically saying Japan's history by itself.
Okay.
Because you realize that's part of what Japan's culture originally was it's an island nation who basically closed themselves off from all outside sources for the longest time. So they were isolated for the longest time, and because of that, their culture basically what you how you explain that is almost word for word how Japan is like until they actually forced an industrial revolution inside their where they were at. So.
Okay. Yeah, true. So yeah, so it mirrors real life.
Which
Um,
is why they probably know it so well.
yeah. Um, oh yeah, and then I usually get like completely wrapped up in the characters because I don't know. It's like it's I don't know. It's like once I find out how the culture works, I usually just I'm on board 100%. And usually there's this huge clash because one, if not more, of the characters usually come from the outside, and they
Hmm.
just kind of upend everybody's daily life because they either clash against the culture of the island, or in very rare cases, like people from the island want to adopt whatever thing that the new person has. So it like it's like the younger generation wants to adopt the new thing, and the older generation is like, no, keep our old ways. So there's always some type of chaos, um, and then it never ends normally. It always, always has a very strange ending.
100%.
So yeah, for me, island shows always take me on a ride. But yeah, as you mentioned before, at Studio Field, they've done the island show that I've gone on to rant before because of the ending and weird things that
Yeah,
happened in the show.
you probably went on a good hour-long rant for that one.
Yeah, and it's like, and then other than island, it's like, what was it? What's the studio that does like really, really beautiful stuff? Um, I can't remember, but I used
I'm
to be able
terrible
to
with
just
names,
pull that
but
off the top of my.
we have at least two or three studios that do like really gorgeous stuff.
Yeah, like the people lived underwater. Like some of the people lived underwater, and um,
I mean, we usually say Ufotable has amazing stuff.
yeah, yes. Let me do a Google search real quick because I'm gonna be stuck on that. Nagi no Asakura, and It was done by PA Works. There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So the twist with this one is that they weren't they weren't really on an island, but they were on the shore. And underwater, there's like this whole basically, it's like people used to live underwater, and then some of them came up on land, became land dwellers, and the clash was like something
Um,
was happening to.
yeah, I'm almost positive we've had this. This and Island have been one of the ones I think we've had to discussions over before.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, so it's yeah, me and island shows are like they always
You,
trigger
you
something.
Island water something in regards to that. I
Yeah.
guess just water in general, like just because I think it speaks to your inner like artist in that regards because of how beautiful they can make like the water scenes usually kind of thing.
Yeah. And then I don't know, it's like something that they do with the characters and they're like whatever stakes they decide to put in, it always hooks me. So for this one I'm like I'm ready.
I am ready
um
to receive. Give to me.
but yeah. So the synopsis for this one is how much it's probably gonna throw me completely out. To help manage his recently deceased grandmother's effects, the protagonist Takahata Hairi travels to Torosh, Toro, Torishirojima during his summer vacation. As he gets off the ferry boat, he spots a lone girl standing on the pier. A girl who simply gazes into the distance as her long hair flutters in the wind. He looks at the girl in utter bewilderment um, before he realizes it, she can no longer be found anywhere. Heidi finds himself starting to adjust to life on the island, surrounded by nature's far lusher than anything he has ever come across back in the city. Time seems to flow by casually on this island as it does, memories of something nostalgic keeps coming back to him. Memories of something he had long forgotten. Ah, don't do that.
You know, this is starting to be a trope all onto itself at this point. I feel like.
Yeah.
Is this like
Ah,
the new version of an anime trope that we haven't seen? It just recently, I guess, because it feels like it.
yeah, it's
And all of a sudden, you're like, "Oh, wait, yo, you used to live here long ago. You used to actually live here, and you actually saw this girl before. You two were friends back when you were little
yes.
kids,
Ah,
and you guys made a promise that you would be together forever. But then your father had to move away and took you." And because you were so young, you forgot. Am I saying like the entire plot?
yes. Yeah,
This is why
man.
you fit in so well, because you used to live here.
Yep, yep. And man, I'm already. I just get that feeling. I'm like, it's like
It's like coming home.
sunlight. Yeah, it's like sunlight. You off to the side. It's just the ocean, and you're just in a car, just driving. I'm like, where are they going, man? But
Good lord.
yeah, like this is one of those shows that's probably gonna break me. Like I'm gonna be very upset later.
Probably.
But yeah.